Are recording. We are recording because this is a podcast. I believe this will be the last podcast of 2023. I'm not going to say that indefinitely because sometimes I feel aligned to do another one, and we still have time this year. But I am jumping on here because I want to talk about something. I want to talk about celebrating the reflection. I want to talk about no matter what you accomplished or what you didn't accomplish that you wanted to accomplish in 2023, I want to talk about encouraging you to take the time to reflect and celebrate the fact you made it. The fact that you made it to the end of 2023 is a pretty big deal. There are many people who didn't make it to the end of 2023. And today's podcast episode is about beyond the profit, celebrating success, the breakthroughs, the fulfillment. Because as you know, I talk about living life by design, which is called the yes and life by design. This is how you unlock your best year. You do this through intentional living, through radical breakthroughs. And with that comes massive fulfillment in both business and life. So the question is, do you take the time to reflect? Do you take the time to celebrate? Not just on your birthday, not just around the holidays. I know this is a holiday time of year, but do you take the time to celebrate and take an audit of what you created and what you allowed yourself to experience this year? And in some cases, it might feel like, look at what I survived, right? And that I don't take lightly. It's true. There are things that you survived this year. There are things that came up, challenges that you thought were going to end certain things, and you persevered. You thrived. You created resilience. I am recording this for a podcast, so hang in there with me. If you have questions or if you comment, I do shout out a little bit at the beginning, but if I don't say anything throughout the rest of this, I will catch up at the end of this because I'll hit stop record on the podcast and I'll keep going. So we're talking about your best year yet. And yes, there's so many challenges. There are so many obstacles. So do you celebrate your success in that, your breakthroughs, your fulfillment, your fullest opportunity to pivot or reset? Are you celebrating that? Or are you just looking at the bottom line? Or are you just looking at the profits? What are you defining your success to be? Because for a long time, here's with 1,000% transparency, for a long, long time, I allowed my revenue or my profits or my commissions to define success for me. And boy, was that limiting in the way I felt about myself, limiting in the way I allowed myself to do or not do things. And so I want to uncover ways to avoid that here, not only in 2023 still, and leaving it at the doorstep so that you can step into so much more in 2024. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it did. So again, do you take time to reflect and celebrate? Not just around your birthday or the holidays, like really celebrating life, like really taking an audit on what you've accomplished, what you survived, looking at the challenges, looking at how you handled certain challenges, what's still in play, what's not in play. What did you have the courage to end, stop doing, which takes a lot of courage and a lot of confidence. And if you don't do this, why? Maybe this is a new concept for you. Maybe this is the one thing that you needed to hear this year to already have that massive breakthrough. So congratulations, you're here, right? You're here. Just takes that one conversation, thought, idea, activation, modality, method, thing, person, that one thing. So I ask you, if you haven't, invite you to just trust me on this. Give it a shot. See how it feels. Try it on, right? Date it for a little bit, right? And if you need support with this, I have 7 prompts that are only $1 right now. The Power of the Reset prompts over at my Stan store /Jacqueline Mack Coaching. And I will leave them $1 probably till the end of the year. And they might go up to $33, might go to $3, might go to $7. I don't know what the price will be. All I know is that when people have skin in the game, they take action. And my goal for you is to take action towards living out your best life, period. Period, right? And with that comes an energy exchange. And sometimes that involves money because it's painful to release the money for some people. It's painful to invest in certain things if your relationship with money has been resulting in pain, right? Well, I want to invite you also to break free from that thought, break free with that relationship that you have established and create a new. And I'd like to give you one example of what this reflection process kind of looks like and how the celebration works for me and my clients. Because at the end of the day, it really boils down to your fulfillment in life. And fulfillment is filled with celebration. Fulfillment happens because you're present. Fulfillment is when you've decided to do the damn thing, and who cares if what people think or do or say, right? And it feels really good. Not to say it's not scary, not to say that the fear is not shouting in your ear, but you're doing the damn thing anyways. And you're going to get tired of me here, saying this over and over, but this is just the truth. And if you've been following me for a while, this is probably the 10th, 20th, 100th time you've heard me say this, but how you do anything is how you do everything. How you do anything is how you do everything. So if you start to pause and recognize pivotal moments, ensuring that you're in alignment with your vision, only saying yes to things that support your vision, which, by the way, your vision is evolving. As you start to experience more and more of your vision, there's more. And there's more because we live in an abundant world. We truly are limitless in possibilities and potentiality. And so is the world. So there's always more. When you think, oh, once I have this, or once I do that, or once I have 2 children, or once I have the marriage, or once this happens, or once that happens, there's still more. So not to do a buzzkill there, but that's just the truth. And I used to battle with this a lot because it was like I'd set a lofty goal and I'd hit it, and I'd set another goal and I'd hit it. I'm like, wow, this is never ending. And this could get exhausting because how I did anything is how I did everything. And I was a hustler and a grinder and a make it happen mama. And that's why people hired me. My original OG coaching name was Make It Happen Mac, because when people hired me to help them with their business or their life, we made it happen fast because we hustled and grind and did whatever it took to get there. And let me tell you, sprinting is a great strategy, but it's not sustainable for a marathon life. Our life is a marathon of decades, right? If you're lucky enough to experience that. So when you think about how you do anything is how you do everything, you really have to stop and think about, what have I done this year? And am I okay with that? And is this how I want to continue to do, be, and show up in life? And I've had to stop myself multiple times just this year, pivot and reset, especially when things felt out of alignment, because that's what I teach. That's part of decision mastery. This is part of having radical breakthroughs in your life, quantum leaps. Is when you're feeling out of alignment, catching yourself sooner than later and resetting and pivoting. And it takes courage and it takes guts to get clearer and clearer. Again, to dial in that vision that's still evolving with you as you grow and experience life. And so, like I said before, I used to define my success around financials. And I had bucket list items. I had going to Bora Bora and Tahiti and having an amazing wedding at a destination, and the snow and the fairy tale and the ring and the cars and the homes and the vacations and the kids and the dogs and the land. And all of it's happened. And thank God I did not bank all of my happiness onto those things, because I would not be a happy person right now. Not because I don't have those things anymore. I still have all of those things. Well, most of all those things. I'm not in Bora Bora right now, right? But I've been there, I've done that, and I will go back again. I have no desire to go tomorrow. But I was just reflecting on where I'm going just in the next few weeks. I'm like, I'm camping next weekend, and then we're in Jamaica, and then I am back for a couple of days, and I go to Costa Rica on a retreat with some amazing online business service providers, and coaching and serving and participating and reflecting and retreating. And I'm like, wow, look what I've created. I remember when this was on my vision board. I remember when this is just a thought and an idea. And I remember when fear would whisper like, oh, that's not possible. You're too young. You don't know. You don't have enough experience, or you don't have to do that, or you have to invest more money and time and energy. And you know what? I listened to it, but I didn't believe it. And I journaled about it and I flipped the script. And when I was saying, well, what if you fail? And what if it doesn't work? And what if it's not for you? And I said, shh, what if it is? What if this is my time to break through? What if this is the way? What if it's not just about the money? What if it's more than that? And then I had to get clear on like, well, what is success to me? Freedom. How do you get freedom? Discipline. Where's the discipline come from? Decisions. Well, people can decide all day, but they never commit. So are they really committing or are they deciding? And what does that mean? And throughout the past 2 decades of really studying and understanding this and money and energy and NLP and mindset and subconscious mind and operating systems and pivoting and resetting and rebuilding and life coaching and all the things, business and money and high ticket sales and investing. And what is all of this circle back to? I got really, really clear on that holistic perspective on what does fulfillment mean to me? Time freedom, money freedom. But by golly, if I had to put one above the other, and this is for me personally, and this may not be for you, it's that time freedom. And what helps buy time freedom? Because we can't buy back the time that's already passed, but we can buy time into the future. We can pay somebody else to do things for us. We can pay to have an experience sooner than later. It's money. Money is the universal exchange right now, right? So what is your relationship with money? Do you have a lack mindset? Do you have limiting beliefs? Do you have old stories that aren't serving you? And is that part of your reflection? Are you celebrating your breakthroughs around that? Are you like, whoa, I have some work to do in 2024? Great. Awareness is the first step. And when you think about celebrating that success, whether it's financial success, relationship success, health success, there are many of you that are going to listen to this who have overcome crazy amounts of feats with just your health this year. And it might have put you back financially. But your health is your most vital asset. Vital asset. If you don't have your health, money doesn't matter. And the flip side of this that many people get hung up on is that they make decisions based on the financials and they give all their power away to the money and let their health suffer, right? So please, if that's you, be aware of that and don't let that stop you from investing into your most vital asset, your health. This is the only body we have. Only lifetime we get to have to experience and express in this beautiful body that does magical things, miraculous things. It can heal itself in most cases. It can build and deliver a new human, right? There's so many cool things our bodies can do if you believe it, right? But if you don't, you don't. And that's for you to manage and reflect upon and deal with or settle with, right? So what I'm celebrating this year, even though I did not hit that pivotal profit point that I was targeting in January of 2023, but I'm not upset about it because every month I made a decision to pivot and reset. And I was okay with where I was with my pivoting and resetting. Because again, my theme of this year was simplifying my processes, simplifying my business. And with that, things are going to fall to the wayside. And I'm going to fire and let go of some things. And I'm going to build and rebirth new. I recorded over 100 and something video, I think 170 something videos this year, just in my Rise Up program. I'm so proud of that. I'm celebrating that. And it's hard to admit this out loud, let alone publicly, that I didn't hit the financials because I teach yes and. Could have I hit the financials and been fulfilled as well? Yes, I could have. But I didn't, and that's okay. So I'm not settling and I'm not struggling and I'm not grappling with that. I'm just like, here's where we are and where do I want to go? Because the money that I did create, the investments that did flourish, not just from myself, but with others, is a direct reflection of the impact that I know happened just in 2023 and will continue to impact lives for many years to come. And to me, that's priceless. I can't even put a value or an amount on that. And that's coming from me being a coach and a mentor and a program expert and supporting other companies that are doing tens of millions of dollars a month. A month. That just blows my mind when I slow down and reflect to celebrate that. And the best way to slow down and reflect and celebrate is through intentional breaks, right? Because in the present moment is all we have, right? Like I can't go back even 5 minutes ago when I first started talking about what we were talking about, celebrating, reflecting, pivoting, resetting. That time's gone. In the future, I can't act in the future because it's not here yet, but we're right here, right now. And I value every moment, whether I'm doing something I love doing, whether I'm learning that I get to do certain things that I'm learning how to love or I don't want to love until I delegate to somebody else, right? And so with that comes permission to take intentional breaks and celebrating the significance that I was able this year to take full months like off, where there was very little responsibility in my business and life. And I got to be fully present with some very special loved ones that I haven't been able to really invest that kind of quality time with for years. Because why? I allowed life, circumstances, situations to take all that power. But not this year. I took my power back because I focused on simplifying and fulfillment and what that really meant to me. And I've helped so many others do that this year too. And that is real freedom. That is really something to celebrate. And because I take those intentional breaks, it's within the break that we grow. It's just like when you're building a bicep and you lift a heavy weight and you're lifting that heavy weight for doing rep after rep after rep, you put the weight down, you lift that heavy weight, then you break for a day, 24 hours, 12 hours, 48 hours, however long. It's during the break, the recharge, that the muscle grows. So we're looking at reflecting upon those achieved goals in a way that we're really dialing in the potential. Like, I don't believe my muscle can get so big unless I lift the weight. Well, that is true. It's going to require a stressor. It needs to get uncomfortable. We need to tear up those fibers a little bit to rebuild. And with that rebuild comes growth. It's the same thing with our mental mindset. It's the same thing with trusting our intuition. It's the same thing for business, personal life, relationships, your happiness, your adventure, stepping into that zone of discomfort and becoming comfortable with that. And the more you become comfortable with being uncomfortable, again, there's the growth with your happiness, with your milestones, with your adventure, with your freedoms, time and money, both. So if you were like me and you read all the money books, manifestation books, investment, I wouldn't say all because that's not possible, but you've read a lot of them, right? Or listened to a lot of them. All the codes of the extraordinary mind, the infinite possibilities, mastering the money game is one of my favorites from Tony Robbins. Think and Grow Rich, right? There are so many codes in these books. And yet so many people read, I'm putting air quotes, read these books and they don't feel rich, or they don't feel wealthy, or they don't feel fulfillment, or they don't feel like they've hit it yet, or they've landed there, wherever there is, whatever that desire is. And because it's not about that thing, the money or the business or the relationship or that thing you so desire. It's not the one thing, but we tend to wrap all of our power into this one thing and we send it off until we experience that one thing. And then we experience the one thing and the novelty wears off. And then we're like, what's next? What's more? Because everything is energy. Everything is energy. Money is energy. How we be and who we show up as is energy. What we think about has massive energy. How we act upon our thoughts is very massive energy that's creating our reality. How we decide and commit to things requires thoughts of energetic response. And it's our responsibility of how we respond versus react. And most of us are on autopilot, living by default, reacting to life, circumstances, and situations, giving all our power away. So if it's not about the one thing, and I'm including myself in this because I still catch myself from time to time, focusing on the one thing, the happiness today, or the money tomorrow, or the adventure, or that next successful milestone, whatever it is, remember there's always going to be more. And it's building and creating and finding the pockets of fulfillment along the way in your journey now. Now. And the only way to be certain about that is to reflect on a monthly basis. And monthly is just consistently. Like some people I know do it every 21 days, others it's every 45 days or 60 days. But it's that consistency and the power of the pause to reflect and reset, and using really good prompts to guarantee the possibility of understanding what's still possible, understanding what your potential is, understanding if what you've been doing is working or not. Because we can get caught up in limiting beliefs and old ways of doing and being. It's called our operating system, and it will continue to operate that way until we decide not to. But it takes awareness, it takes reflection, and celebrate, to celebrate those little baby steps and the big triumphs, because it's with all the little steps that we actually get there. And we don't actually get there. We just experience the journey, and that's part of the result, because you can't have the result without the journey. And really, life is about the journey. The gift is in the journey. The journey is the life experience, because all these little moments that we were like focusing on as the ultimate goal, they come and go like that. And what's left is what we experienced along the way. So if you haven't heard the theme yet, it really is about embracing the journey, tapping into your potential, tapping into your possibilities, while being intentional with the savoring of the journey, and making sure that when you are really contemplating the what ifs, the possibilities, the potentiality, for you to experience what you desire, because what you desire, you deserve. And tapping into, if you choose to experience what you desire and what you deserve, and if you don't, you won't. But catch yourself when you're saying that you want something and you're not matching it with your aligned action. Because the joy of the journey is in the journey. It's the only way. It can't happen any other way. Well, I guess it could happen if you read a book, because I've experienced books that I read that brought me so much joy, and it wasn't actually me experiencing it, but I felt the joy from what one would feel, right? By doing the thing. But it wasn't mine. It wasn't my experience. It was third party. And sometimes that's okay, right? There are a lot of things that I hear people share and I'm like, wow, good for you. That's amazing. That's truly incredible. It's not for me. It's not for me. So all of this goes back to the one major thing: the courage and the clarity to live with intention. The courage and the clarity to live with intention. And this will allow you to release the regret. You'll have way less regret in life when you have the courage and clarity to live with intention. And this will create the fulfillment. This will create the yes and life by design. This will create decision mastery. This will be your new default, which will be fantastic because it's by design, but then your by design becomes habitual and it's now your default. And when we release this regret, it's so freeing. And you're living from fulfillment because you're clear on what you desire. You're so clear that when you're making decisions The yeses are very obvious, and the no's are no's. And you're so confident and you're not worried about what other people think or say. And you know that the difference between a decision and actually committing. And if you don't know that, it's okay. It took me a while too. I used to use both words as if they were interchangeable, and they're not. Committing is completely different than making a decision, and you can decide all day and never commit. Yeah. Say that again. Think about that again. See how that lands. You can decide all day and never commit. I have a podcast episode on that too. It's not far behind. So just boop, 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 back it up a little bit and you can go listen to that. So I want to kind of end this on a couple things here. You can create a breakthrough without having a breakdown. So when you're thinking, okay, courage to have clarity, to live with intention, decision mastery, living from the vision, creating this yes and life by design, creating radical breakthroughs with intention, you do not have to have a breakdown to have a breakthrough. Yet, what's critical in this is to recognize the circumstances, the people, or the limiting beliefs that you're giving your power away to. Because you are. It's just how it works. There are circumstances, situations, people, things that you're giving your power away to. And this is what's blocking you, A, from living in alignment and or from having that breakthrough. And this is why it's critical to be intentional. Just to be intentional, to be aware, to be intentional with being aware, right? Consistently. And when you start to do this on a habitual basis, it's going to feel very exhausting because there's going to be a lot of things you're going to notice that you're noticing about how you operate and how you show up that aren't serving you. And you're going to want to shift and change that right away. But it's hard to shift things and change things if you're not aware of it, right? Spouses and partners and best friends can help you with that, but they're not there every second of every day with you, listening and watching what you're doing. So you have to be your own best friend in this case. And I have lots of tips and tools in the Rise Up program, Radical Intentional Self-Expansion to unleash your liminal potential. And here's the good news. There's possibility in the change. And you can do this on your own or you can do it with support. And that Rise Up experience that has been designed for my one-on-one clients and my group clients is still available for self-study. The Black Friday went so well, and I've had so much great feedback that I cannot help but continue to offer this as a self-study and continue to build it. And that's the best part of this. Continue to build out on it based on what your needs are and based on what I'm experiencing and growing and learning from as well. Because I'm always going to be 5 or 10 or 2 steps ahead. And things will change. Science unleashes so many new studies around all of this: decision mastery, mindset, NLP, subconscious mind, energetics every single day. And I love it. And you'll have access to a lot of that. So if you still desire the playbook, the frameworks to experience that growth and expansion in both business and life, which will result in massive, massive fulfillment in 2024, and you actually want to commit to having your best year yet in 2024, and you'll have 12 months to create your best year yet in 2024. And then it's not like you're joining or you're hearing this in the middle of 2024 and you're like, oh, I only have 6 months. It's not going to happen. Well, if you believe that, you're right. If you don't believe that, guess what? You're right. But I would rather be rich in all the ways. And I mean, all the ways: love, happiness, health, vitality, adventure, love, connection, financials, and instead of being right, I'd rather be rich in all the ways than right, but to each their own. So I'll ask you, when was the last time you went all in on you? And when will you know enough is enough when it comes to settling? And you draw a line in the sand and you say settling is not an option anymore. And what if everything you desired was just on the other side of this podcast? Or just on the other side of having the courage and the clarity and the confidence to take on the Rise Up experience? Or what if it's just on the other side of you saying yes to you and being intentional in 2024? And maybe it's just listening to my podcast. That's your intention. and applying the tips and tools and things that feel aligned to you on a consistent basis. What's going to be required is massive accountability. What's going to be required is massive awareness. But you can do it if you really want it. So my DMs are open, and there's so many links here below in this podcast that you can click on to find out more. And obviously, I'm always looking forward to connecting, always looking forward to connecting. And if any of this resonated or landed for you, but you're just like, I'm not so sure. Like, I don't even know what kind of breakthrough I need. There's so many things that I desire. There's so many things I feel way behind on, or there's so many things that I have that I feel super grateful for. And I mean, life is so good, Jackie, but I know there's more, but I don't know what or how to access the more. Hop on and activate and Great Call. I do 5 of those a week that I'm not traveling for free. It's truly a real breakthrough call coaching session that I do for free, because I believe the most generous people have more to give. And at first I was like, oh, when I hit consistent months of 20K, 50K months, I'm going to give away this many calls. I'm like, no, I started this so long ago. Even when I burnt my coaching business down and I had 0 clients, 0 one-on-one clients in the Rise Up program, 0 group clients. And I didn't even have a self-study, because self-study just released a month ago, right? I was still giving this away for free, because it's the yes and. It's the showing up as the person who's already doing, being and experiencing that. And so much unlocks when you live out this way. And all the best part of this Rise Up experience self-study is that if you desire any one-on-one support, we get to customize it. We get to build it out based on what you feel aligned to. There's no cookie cutter approach to any of this if you haven't figured that out yet. And just like there's no cookie cutter way to life, you have your one unique life to live. You have your gifts to live out, to experience, and for others to experience as well. And it's just as unique as your fingerprint. So until I see you possibly next year, or if I hop on one more time before the end of the year, who knows? That will be a delight and surprise, I'm sure. I am going to send you off with so much love. So bye for now.